A very good morning to Dr. Lai. Today we will present the topic of our assignment, which is the fight for MA63 and why it matters today. Our study focuses on the Malaysia Agreement 1963 that is not merely as an historical document, but as the foundational pact that defines our federation. For decades, Sabah and Sarawak have felt their rights eroded, often treated as provinces rather than partners. We will examine this through the lens of asymmetrical federalism. Our presentation covers four central pillars of this struggle. First is the equal status, the 2021 constitutional amendment that finally moved Sabah and Sarawak back towards their original co-equal status. Second is the fiscal federalism, the volatile fight for 40% revenue claim, which is essential for our roads, hospital and development. Third is the defensive federalism, reclaiming 35% seats share in the parliament to act as a constitutional veto against the tyranny of the majority. And finally, we will also look at the rise of Borneo Bloc as the modern kingmaker. Ultimately, we ask, are these changes genuinely restoration of power or just strategic rhetoric? That is all from my part. Next, I will pass to my friend for the next part.
Hi, I'm Gabriel. Today I'm going to explain the theoretical framework that we are focusing in our study. As you can see in this picture, it reflects a long-lasting issue since last century where it's mostly caused by the asymmetrical federalism that we are running in our country at a very early stage. And this asymmetrical federalism is basically a system of governments that the power is distributed unevenly between the states. And some states has more autonomy and greater responsibility, where it also brings some benefit that the country can accommodate diversity and prevent conflicts and is more flexible. But at the same time, it also brings some disadvantage, which is inequality perception from the minority and complex administrative and also, last but not least, the accountability issues. So now I'm going to pass it to my friends to further explain about the constitutional shift. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Liu Guangxing, and today I will examine the most critical development in the MA63 struggle, the constitutional shift of 2021 to the present. This shift began by correcting a historical wrong. Since 1976, the federal constitution had categorized Sabah and Sarawak as mere states, downgrading from their original status as co-equal partners or region of the Federation of Malaya. In a major legislative turning point, the Constitutional Amendment Bill was introduced in November 2021 and approved in December, officially restoring Sabah and Sarawak to an equal status footing with West Malaysia. This amendment, which took effect in February 2022, was designed to give effect to the spirit of Malaysia Agreement 1963. Crucially, this shift also being cemented in the courts. The Sabah Law Society successfully filed for judicial review regarding the 40% net revenue entitlement, highlighting that the mandatory review for this funding had been ignored for 50 years, referred to as the lost years. The High Court ruled the federal government failure to act was unlawful. Simultaneously, Sarawak was pushing litigation on in the federal court to challenge federal acts that strip its control over petroleum and resource rights, asserting its autonomy. So thank you for watching my sharing. I will pass the part fiscal federalism and the 40% claim to my friend.
Salam sejahtera to Professor Lai. I am AISAH. I'm going to speak for my part, which is fiscal federalism and the 40% claim. So based on the MA63, Sabah is actually entitled for the 40% revenue extracted from its state. This revenue has to be reviewed for every 5 years. However, it has been ignored for 50 years. So the transparency here is very unclear. Even though federal government has risen the interim grants for 600 million this year, it sounds huge. However, they actually owe Sabah more than that, which is based on the 40% claim, is around 3 billion this year alone. So SLS has fought this in the court and has won the mandamus order, but once again, federal government has used its power to legally delay the review. So this has impacted the social, economic, and political so much because of the Jalan Raya problem, electricity problem, water problem, poverty problem in Sabah. And Borneo Bloc has been created to find justice so that Sabah and Sarawak would be treated as the equal partner. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Kennedy. I'm going to present my part in our topic, which is the political representation. So, first of all, what does the demand for 35% of parliamentary seats for East Malaysia mean? First of all, Malaysia was designed as an asymmetrical federation. Sabah and Sarawak weren't just a standard states, they were equal founding partners requiring special autonomy. To protect this autonomy, the MA63 granted the non-Malian territories 35% of the seats and 34.6% seats to be exact. And because constitutional amendments require a two-thirds majority, this acts as a structural minority veto today. But today the veto is gone and Borneo holds only 25% of the seats. And what does it mean by using democratic theory to prevent tyranny of the majority, which is in Peninsula, over the minority, which is Borneo? It is basically like one man, one vote. A divided society creates what political scientists call the tyranny of the majority. It allows the Peninsula majority to permanently dominate. Therefore, restoring the 35% allocation isn't about unfair electoral leverage. It is to serve as a constitutional shield to protect Borneo's special privileges and autonomy. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi everyone, today I will present about the Borneo Bloc as a kingmaker in Malaysian politics. The Borneo Bloc refers to political parties from Sabah and Sarawak such as GPS and GRS. These parties become very important after the 15th general election in 2022 because no coalition won enough seats to form the government alone. Because of this situation, support from Sabah and Sarawak helped form the unity government. This is why the Borneo Bloc is called a kingmaker because they can influence which coalition governs the country. Besides that, the bloc also fight for the right of Sabah and Sarawak. Important issues include MA63, the 14% renewable allocation to Sabah, infrastructure development, and equal development between West Malaysia and East Malaysia. In conclusion, the Borneo Bloc now plays an important role in Malaysian politics and helps create a more balanced government. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. Today I will explain why the fight for the Malaysia Agreement 1963 or MA63 remain important in Malaysia today. First, MA63 is about equality and constitutional justice in Sabah for Sabah and Sarawak. Many people believe that the original agreement has weakened because too much centralized power in Kuala Lumpur. The 2021 constitutional amendment restored the special status of Sabah and Sarawak. This is the most important step to recognize the partnership as an equal partnership. Second, we go to the economic and also a major concern. Sabah has long demanded the return of that 40% of their net revenue. As a state in constitution, despite contributing many things, especially petroleum, natural resources, and also Sabah having and still facing a poor infrastructure, limited clean water supply, and weak public service. Third, political representation is another key issue. Sabah and Sarawak want stronger protection in parliament, including restoration of 35% parliamentary representation. The rise of Borneo Bloc after 15 general election also gave an East Malaysia better influence in national politics. In conclusion, representation is another key issue. In conclusion, the struggle for MA63 was not threat to Malaysia. Instead, it's opportunity to strengthen the federation through fairness, equality, and mutual respect. Thank you.